This time on Warp Solutions, we're going to make use of fly.io and quickly create a publicly available WarpStream cluster that uses the Tigris S3 compatible storage. Tigris is now tightly coupled with Fly, and that documentation will be linked below. Note that Fly and flyctl are used interchangeably through all their various docs, and the Fly software itself has a symlink for Fly to point to flyctl. I'm going to just be using Fly through this. So the first thing is you'll need a WarpStream account and a Fly account with Fly installed. I've already done those bits, and I'm going to go ahead and link all of that in the video description. You'll also need this WarpStream GitHub repo cloned locally, which I've already done. Primarily, we need the fly.toml file that's in the repo. But first, we're going to be in WarpStream and start by building a virtual BYOC cluster. So we'll set this up. I'm going to just call this WarpFly Tigris. This needs to be US East 1. Create. There's our cluster. We're going to need a few things from this. We're going to need this cluster ID. You can click on that to copy it. Then as long as we're here, we'll save some time and we'll do the other bits. We're going to create the credentials. I'll just call these WarpFly. So I want to save those for later and grab that. Next, I'm going to create a topic while I'm here. Call this devrel fly. And there's our topic. So now over in our terminal, I'll show you what we got happening. So you see .fly, that was from our Fly install, and then this is from our GitHub clone. So let's jump in the WarpStream one. You see that fly.toml file, that's what we want to edit. I've got that open already in here, but we don't want to do anything just yet. This is where we're going to use Tigris to generate our S3 compatible storage. So storage, create, public, give it a name here. We want to save that information for later. You see a warning there from some work I was doing earlier. So now we're going to need some of those bits for the toml file. Let's go to our editor. So up here I've set my region to LAX because that's near where I am. We're going to call this WarpFly Tigris. That means we need to change that down here. This cluster ID, this is what we generated earlier, and we need to paste that in. I've got it handy. Then this endpoint, that we got from our Tigris dev. So here's the endpoint that we want. I've popped that in there. Then we need our URL. So that comes from our bucket name here. So it takes care of the toml file. We want to save it. Now we're going to programmatically set a few things after we launch. So we'll issue the launch command. And this is why we want to be where toml files. I'm going to do the address later as a command. Okay, there's a little chicken and the egg through here in terms of when to set things. So we are going to go through and set our secrets. You can actually do that in the application. As you can see, I've got values here from earlier. I'm going to do those through the command line so you can see what that looks like. So we're going to set this AWS access key. Then we have our secret access key. This was all given to us by the Tigris command earlier. We need the API key from WarpStream. So we issue the deploy command. I'm going to set IPv4. And now we will take a quick look at the scale. There's our one CPU. We could scale that to another one. This is all we really need for this particular system. We're going to issue a WarpStream command, and this should fail because we have not applied the security to it. Okay, that's what we expect. So let's do it with our user and password. All right, that works. Let's take a little look back here. Our cluster. So you see nothing's been going on here yet. We see our agent that was created. If we look at our topics, we've got that, but there shouldn't be anything in it yet. So we look at our live log, we see stuff's going on in there. So let's come back to our terminal window, and we're going to produce some data. So we'll do this with a WarpStream CLI command. So every record I am typing here is going into the topic. A blank line ends it. Now let's go back to WarpStream and take a look. And there's our records showing up. Back in the Fly dashboard, we'll take a look at our new app that we just launched. We see our details in here. Take a look at our logs. Things are humming along. Let's look at our log search. This generates a nice Grafana dashboard. We see our write activity taking place. And there we go. Now I have a producer through WarpStream going to a Tigris S3 compatible bucket all through Fly, and it works. Now I can go and connect something else to consume from that topic. There's a little bit of jumping around, but as long as you do the steps in the correct order, everything is ready to roll. So come on over to WarpStream and Fly and sign up and give it a try yourself.